Hare Krishna. Welcome to a new episode on Wonderful Wednesday. The whole country is roaring with anger, wanting a revenge on what happened yesterday, the cowardly act of Islamic terrorist gunning down 27 innocent tourists who had been there. The political parties are reigning behind the government, and the government is going to take a decisive decision what to be done to take a revenge on what has happened yesterday in Kashmir. There are different angles being discussed since last 24 hours, what the government should do, what should be done for Kashmir in particular, and the atrocities being done to particular to the Hindu community from Kashmir to Murshidabad to Bangladesh. Why this one particular community is being targeted? What should be the understanding of devotees in such cases, that is for Hindus or any painful situation which people go through? What should be our understanding? I will try to understand from the spiritual perspectives. Let us pray to Srila Prabhupada to understand and go through this tragedy and learn life lessons, and which can be implemented individually, collectively, and as a nation, and as a community, as a whole world, to adopt the principles what Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita and in other Vedic literatures he teaches through the examples. Before that, let us seek the blessings of Srila Prabhupada to go through this. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshdharine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktaranda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The country is extremely angry. The whole subcontinent, especially Indians, especially the Hindu community, is really upset with the Pakistani terrorists, especially the establishment of Islamabad. Recently, before the cowardly attack, the chief of army staff of Pakistan made a comment that how their civilization is different from spewed venom against the Hindu culture or the India, or was giving importance of two nation theory, blah blah. And now when the vice president of United States of America was here in our country, this cowardly act has happened. Now what should be the response? Definitely the government will give a befitting reply, just like they gave befitting reply after Uri, after Pulwama. Definitely the government will do it, and it should do, and that's what we expect from the government to do. Such a cowardly, dastardly act should not go unpunished, but it should not not only the perpetrator, the six terrorists who were there, who are behind them, and should give a befitting reply, so much so that they never dare to act in a certain way, the way they have been acting since last many years. Okay, politically, people may accuse that why Kashmir was made a state, why Kashmir was given a chance to go through the electoral process and elect their government. The same people who were there, who separatists, were again made into the government stream. Jammu should have been a separate state, Ladakh should have been a separate state, and Kashmir should be ruled directly by the central government. And even if it is done, the demography, if it is not changed, you'll not have be controlling. The people who came across the borders were helped by the people, local aids, and there are certain videos where the locals are actually grinning, smiling, and not so appalled by what has happened. So there are many things discussed on the media, and people are enraged. Especially this time they want the government to give a befitting reply, so that they don't dare to do this act again. Now, from the perspective, let us go on war, let us do it like Israel, and let us flatten like Gaza. But we should understand that the Pakistani government wants this to happen, because the Balochistan is almost separated. The internal terrorist acts within the Pakistan is happening, and the China also wants that there's a war happen and they may attack. And Pakistan is the weakest point. Whenever the countries go through this stage where the establishment is questioned for what is happening in the country, they pitch the country to the war so that they all of them get united to fight against the other country. So this is what Pakistan also wanted, and if we go to the war, and how the China also can pitch in how the reaction by the government should be done. Of course, the US has said you can go ahead, as Russia as all time all weather friend, and even the UK has told you have a chance to give a befitting reply. Now, how would the government react? Let us leave it to the government. Hopefully, they will do the befitting reply to the Pakistan agency. It's not about one offshoots terrorist or few big day youngsters taking up weapons to. It's a very targeted, planned, chalked out strategy by the Pakistani army, especially the chief. Their goal and purpose is to wage war against anyone, jihad. That's what the goal is. It's not very clear. The Pakistani army was established for this purpose itself. Anyways, coming back to the spiritual perspectives, all this is happening because of the fundamental misunderstanding that the idea that I am the body, I am a Pakistani, I am a Muslim, I am a Hindu, I am an Indian, this plot of land belongs to me, this tract of land belongs to me. So how come you do this? How come they do this? And because of this fundamental misunderstanding, there's a chaos and confusion, and we pitch against each other. Icha dvesha samuttena dvande mohena bharata. Because of the inherent desire to enjoy independent of Krishna and envious of Krishna, we identify with different bodies, or nationalities, or creed, or ideologies, or isms, which in our reality are all different flavors of Maya. Deeply engrossed in such thought process and isms, we identify with a particular religion, particular creed, particular class, particular blah blah and isms, and we pitch against each other. And that is the cause. That's why this understanding has to be removed, and for which we have to propagate the message of Krishna consciousness, especially the understanding that I am not the body, I am spirit, soul. In every fundamental religion, this understanding that I am the Atma, it may be called soul, it may be called Ruh, is there. Fundamentally, every original religion speaks about this fundamental. God exists and we are not the body, we don't belong to this place, we belong to that place, and we have to be moralistic and religious to overcome those base nature, and we have to go ultimately to the kingdom of God. But in due course of time, just like the scriptures are interpreted, whether it says Islamic literature, which was written many years after the prophet's disappearance, or even the Bible, which was compiled later after Christ's crucifixion. Even the Vedic literatures have been interpreted, but actually Vedic literatures in that sense are beyond the mundane presentation of religion. It is eternal, but these other literatures are account time, place and circumstances. That's why even when there was a conversation between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Chand Kasi clearly agreed to this point, that our religion or our scriptures are man-made, and it has its own lacunas and shortcomings. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, quoting the Quran, using the Quran, gave a meaning of bhakti to Krishna in those literatures. Of course, those understandings, someone coming to Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta only can understand, but otherwise, a root cause is the civilizational misunderstanding that my God is better, your God is better, but actually this God is only one, and that God has been addressed by in different religion, in different names. And later on, the so-called followers of these religions, these sects, not understanding the original intent and purpose, have malignated or contaminated these literatures for their own sense-gratificatory pursuits, and that has caused the havoc in the society where everyone is pitching against each other. But what is our take? What would we have to see as a Krishna conscious devotee? I just remembered few quotes from Srimad Bhagavatam first canto about how a ruler should deal with such things. He should be like King Parikshit or King Yudhishthira Maharaj, where he should be an ideal ruler and punish the miscreants, because all the miscreants who dare to take life of people or the citizens at large should be severely punished, so that nobody dares to do any sinful activity. Even 200 years ago, 150 years ago, and then there is something lying on the streets of Kashmir. Again, Kashmir, it would lie there as it is. If it's a valuable gold or a diamond necklace, people will not take it because of being feared of punishment given by the kings there those days. So king should be ideal like that, where miscreants are treated in such a way that they don't dare to commit a crime or a theft or what to speak of dastardly, cowardly act of killing innocent tourists who have just been there to see the places. And he should act in such a way that everyone gets the protection. Now, but a true devotee, though never identifies only what is apparently seen as a perpetrator as the only cause of the suffering. This is very important from the Krishna conscious perspective. He doesn't only see this person has killed me, he is the cause of my suffering. No, he doesn't see only like that. There's a different perspective. Many of me in the comment section may accuse me, call me ill names for what I was said, but this is what the Krishna conscious perspective is. I have taken few things from the Srimad Bhagavatam, which says, "O greatest among human beings, it is very difficult to ascertain a particular miscreant who caused our suffering, because we are bewildered by all the different opinions of theoretical philosophers." All these opinions is based upon our mental concoction. So actually, it is extremely difficult to ascertain who is the actual cause of my suffering. यार उसने मुझे मारा, he is responsible for it. It is as simple as that. But you are saying it is very difficult to ascertain. Yes, it is very difficult to ascertain. The principle of karma, which all of us, irrespective of which religion or which background believe, it's a factor. Karma plays a very important role. Now, here in this case, when Kali was supposed to be punished, Parikshit Maharaj mentioned this. Although the bull, or the personality of religion, and the cow, the personality of earth, knew perfectly well that the personality of Kali was the direct cause of their sufferings, still, as devotee of the Lord, they knew well also that without the sanction of the Lord, no one could inflict trouble upon them. This is very imperative here. All devotees should understand that if something is happening, these are the great personalities, they knew that Kali Purusha had chopped their legs, bull is suffering, the cow has lost 3 legs, it's surviving on single 1 leg, and he has chopped it, he has put in difficulty. But even then, these 3 personalities, including Dharma personification, is telling that unless it is sanctioned by the Lord, it will not happen, whether it is in anywhere in the world. Now, why does the Lord sanction something difficult, something troublesome? If it is happening goody, excellent, Krishna Kripa, or no, Allah ki den. But something is bad is happening, how to understand that it is a sanction of the Lord? And for that requires maturity. So before commenting on what I'm saying, please watch the whole video and then try to understand. It is difficult to comprehend. People just watching this video may not be able to understand. They need to go through the tenets of the Vedic literatures, especially Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, to understand this nuances or misunderstanding. It's very tough to understand, but it's possible. Try to make you understand in a simple way. According to Padma Purana, our present trouble is due to fructifying of the seedings of sin. But even these seedings of sins also gradually fade away by execution of pure devotional service. Now, why we suffer is because जो पाप बीज का उसका फल हमें भुगतने को मिल रहा. But even the fruitful thing which currently we are experiencing can be rectified, finished off when we execute pure devotional service, which is beginning from chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra attentively. If we chant. Thus, even if the devotees see the mischief mongers, they do not accuse them for the suffering inflicted. I remember when devotees were tortured, whether it is in African countries when they were worshipping, or even in Germany, Australia, those days when Prabhupada instituted ISKCON in those countries, or even now in Islamic countries, especially in the neighboring country called Bangladesh, when devotees went through the sufferings, this is their understanding. They do not accuse them for a suffering inflicted. In fact, they would be very happy to give them prasadam and make them chant Hare Krishna, and they take it as granted that mischief monger is made to act by some indirect cause. Therefore, they tolerate the suffering, thinking them to be God given in small doses. Otherwise, according to my karma, it should have been this much, Krishna has sanctioned it this much. For otherwise, the suffering should have been greater. That's what the understanding of devotees. Now, many of you would be like, so it is a cowardly act, but it's not so. It's a real understanding. So, Maharaj Parikshit wanted to get a statement of accusation against the direct mischief monger, but they declined to give it on the above mentioned grounds. Parikshit Maharaj questioned him, who is responsible for this? Is he responsible for this? But Dharma, cow, and the bull, they who is representing Dharma, didn't give heed to the direct cause of their suffering. Some of the philosophers, those who deny all sorts of duality, declare that one's own self is responsible for his personal happiness and distress. Others say that superhuman powers are responsible, while yet others say that activity is responsible. And gross mentals maintain that the nature is the ultimate cause. Different people, different causes. Okay, understanding? There are also some thinkers who believe that no one can ascertain the cause of distress by argumentation, nor know it by imagine, nor express it by words. O sage among the kings, Shukadeva Goswami is directing, judge for yourself by thinking over all this with your own intelligence. I leave it to you. But the conclusion is, therefore, that the suffering of the representative of religion, the representative of the earth, as present before Maharaj Parikshit, were planned to prove that Maharaj Parikshit was the ideal executive head, because he knew well how to give protection to cows, the earth, the brahmanas, the religious principles, the two pillars of spiritual advancement. Everyone being under the control of the Lord, he's quite correct in his action when he decides something to be done by someone, irrespective of the consideration of a particular case. Maharaj Parikshit was thus put to test for his greatness. Now let us see how he solves it by sagacious mind. This is what Srimad Bhagavatam purport says. A devotee's conclusion is that no one can become a beneficator or a mischief monger without the sanction of the Lord. Therefore, the devotee does not consider directly responsible for such action. But in both the cases, he takes it for granted that either the benefit or the loss is God sent. Thus, it is his grace. In case of benefit, no one will deny that it is God sent. But in case of the loss or the reverses, one becomes doubtful. Like, Bhagwan ऐसे कैसे कर सकता है? He gives the example of Jesus Christ was seemingly put into such great difficulty for being crucified by the ignorant. But he was never angry at the mischief mongers. Recently, we had a Good Friday and a resurrection. That is the way devotee accepts a thing, either favorable or unfavorable. Thus, for a devotee, the identifier is as much as sinner as the mischief monger. The devotee tolerate all reverses as God's grace. In other words, devotee has no suffering at all, because so-called suffering is also God's grace. For a devotee who sees God is everything, the cow and the bull never place any complaint before the king for being tortured by the personality of Kali. Kali was actually torturing, and although everyone lodges such complaints before the state authorities, the extraordinary behavior of the bull made the king conclude that the bull was certainly the personality of religion, and no one could else understand the finer intricacies of the codes of the religion. So hence what I said might be little, ये स्वामी जी क्या बोल रहे हैं? This is ridiculous. Yes, what needs to be done, like Parikshit Maharaj, like Pandavas. Whenever there's an atrocity, whenever there's somebody attacks you, their adatainas, they should be given back. But this is even more finer as a devotees of the Lord. Not everyone can think and feel and act in a certain way. When you are attacked, you have to defend yourselves. Whatever befitting reply the government or the Indian army or the defense forces will take, they should take and they will take. That's a different case. So the final conclusion, as recommended by Prabhupada in Srimad Bhagavatam, is about the holistic approach, the real approach to cleanse this. See, there's a tendency to perform sin, and this rules and regulations, this military provisions, this checks and balances, this threatening has some importance. It's required. But if there is a possibility where the tendency to perform sin itself is removed from the hearts of the people at large, then just imagine the kind of atmosphere you will be into. Now, majority, Swamiji, those things what you are seeking only idealistic, it doesn't exist, it doesn't going to happen. But definitely, if we follow the traits and instructions given by Srimad Bhagavatam, especially by Prabhupada in the purport, this will solve the problem. Anyone who's watching this, if someone of the leaders can understand this, implement, although it is difficult to implement at this particular time, but gradually if they can implement, or if we preach vigorously Krishna consciousness and create an atmosphere where these principles can be followed by default, it will change the whole world. It will change the world. Now, following in the footsteps of Maharaj Parikshit, all executive heads of the state have a duty to see that the principles of religion, namely austerity, cleanliness, mercy and truthfulness, are established in the state. Because austerity, cleanliness, mercy and truthfulness, these are the 4 pillars on which Dharma is static. If these 4 pillars are removed, Dharma will collapse. Now, every state all across the globe is not able to maintain these 4 principles of Dharma. This austerity, cleanliness and mercy and truthfulness. How? Because truthfulness is killed when gambling happens, because all the state is encouraging gambling. Mercy, slaughterhouses are encouraged, so mercy is not there. Cleanliness, because encouraging illicit relationship, and austerity because they are intoxicated, they will not be able to perform austerities. So Srila Prabhupada is telling, if the state establishes these 4 principles, then only it can happen. And that principles of religions, namely pride, illicit female association, prostitution, intoxication, falsity are checked by all means. It should be checked. It should be curtailed. And to make the best use of bad bargain, the personality of Kali may be transferred to the places where gambling, drinking and prostitution and animal slaughter happen. If you analyze these 4 things, every fundamental religion speaks about this. They don't encourage gambling, they don't encourage intoxication, they don't encourage prostitution, they don't encourage unwanted animal slaughter. And if someone is encouraging these things, this is misinterpreted religion. In the original context, neither the prophet, neither the Christ, neither the Vedic literatures have encouraged all this. If it is encouraged under a particular context for particular circumstances only in a shastric way. But if you maintain the slaughterhouse just to gratify your tongue and palate, and that is condemned. And if there are any places like that, they should be sent there. But in Parikshit Maharaj time, these centers were not at all there. But in Kali Yuga becomes with these 4 things. Those who are addicted to these irreligious habits may be regulated by the injection of scriptures. In no circumstances such habits be encouraged by the saints. In other words, the state should categorically stop all sorts of gambling, drinking, prostitution and falsity. Now, how can the government stop all these things? Government and your celebrities and your actors, your actors, your celebrities, your cricketers, all are encouraging directly, sometimes indirectly or directly, to do these 4 activities. In any society where these 4 activities are involved, you cannot find any peace. Swami ji, terrorist आके मार के जा रहे हैं, आप क्या पाठ पढ़ा रहे हैं? ऐसे ही बोलेंगे आप. But as long as these things are happening, these cannot, and that is the nature of Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, these things will be happening. Now, what does Prabhupada suggest to the government is these 4 things, these couple of things. I would like to share these things with you. The state which wants to eradicate corruption by majority may introduce the principles of religion in the following manner. Very odd, but possible to do it if the government wishes to, wants to, or at least if we preach vigorously, the majority of the population, if they take it up to these principles, then even the tendency to perform sin will go. Then the real Ramaraja, real peace and prosperity will come down. Otherwise, all these conferences, all these ammunitions, all these weapons, nothing can stop fighting. Fighting will be there. Even kids fight, yeah. Animals fight, birds fight. The tendency to fight is there in human beings also. But what do you fight for? If the fight is for dharma, it's wonderful. But we should know what dharma is. First thing Prabhupada says here is 2 compulsory days of fasting. That is Ekadashi. Even from the economic point of view, 2 such fasting days will save a lot of grains, tons of food, and will act favorably for the general health of the citizens. Second, this is very interesting. There must be compulsorily marriage of young boys and girls attaining 24 years of age and 16 years of age respectively. There is no harm in co-education in the schools and colleges provided the boys and girls are duly married. In case there is an intimate connection between a male and female, they should be married properly without illicit relation. The Divorce Act is encouraging prostitution and should be abolished. It's a revolutionary thinking. Srimad Bhagavatam, purport Prabhupada writes this. Third, the citizens of the state must give charity at least 50% of their income for the purpose of spreading Krishna consciousness in the state or in human society, both individually and collectively. And the principle which is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam should be preached, namely 1. Karma Yoga, doing everything for the satisfaction of the Lord, regular hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam from authorized persons, parampara persons and realized souls. Third, most important, chanting the glories of the Lord congregationally at home and places of worship. Place of worship anywhere is there, even at home also. And Prabhupada wanted the Indian Parliament to have Kirtan morning and evening. And all the MPs should be initiated Brahmanas, rendering of all kinds of service to the Bhagavatas at that point, engage in preaching Srimad Bhagavatam. And that means helping devotees to do this. And next point would be, you have to reside in a place where the atmosphere is saturated with God consciousness. Of course, the place, if you're chanting Hare Krishna and taking care of the deities and having prasadam, that becomes saturated with Krishna consciousness. If the state is regulated by the above process, naturally there will be Krishna conscious everywhere. Gambling of all description, even speculative business. Samajh rahe ho? Speculative business enterprise, samajh rahe ho? Speculative business enterprise is considered to be degrading. You understand what I mean? And when gambling is encouraged in a state, there is complete disappearance of truthfulness. See why this truthfulness is one of the pillar of dharma. And allowing young boys and girls to remain unmarried past the above mentioned ages and licensing animal slaughterhouses of all description should be at once prohibited. Now there will be flesh eaters, there will be intoxicator. Yes, you can take flesh according to the scriptures. Okay, once in a Amavasya night for a particular time, particular circumstances, you can do. And not otherwise. Even intoxication, all description, even smoking, chewing tobacco, drinking tea must be prohibited. Now all these things becomes very difficult to execute. No. But it is possible if the leaders of the society becomes Krishna conscious. Yad yad achiti shrestha tat tat eva tarojana. Whatever great man does, the common man follows. Then hence it's imperative and important for all of us to influence the influencers, especially the leaders, to understand this. If not possible, no problem. We should ourselves individually practice this. And when we practice this individually, we have an impact on all these things. And when the majority of the people takes up to Krishna consciousness and follows these principles, as a democracy, we'll be able to elect leaders who will be encouraging these things. Hence, it's imperative for all of us individually to take Krishna consciousness and collectively take Krishna consciousness and make sure that because of a collective and individual propagation of Krishna consciousness, there emerges a leader who is also Krishna conscious. And then safeguard, protect. That is possible. Otherwise, this misunderstanding will continue. Yeah, That's what the Lord himself, he didn't tell Arjuna not to fight. He said, you fight. All the um, attempts are being made by me personally, yourself, collectively, but the opposite team was hell bent for a fight. They were poking fun and harassing. So the Lord decided, you have to finish them. In fact, the Kauravas were following the following the so-called Dharma also in that sense. Correct, right? They were from the same family. You may call them Hindus or Sanatanis, but they were from the same family. But the Lord said, they are Adatanyas. They have insulted your wife. They usurped your property. And I want you to rule. They are not the righteous people to rule. So the ruler has to be God conscious, Krishna conscious. And then he should protect it. So when you become Krishna conscious, God conscious, then you will be able to rule in that particular way. Otherwise, all these are all only symptomatic treatment. You fight, and since 47 it's going on. UN was going established in 45. So many wars are happening, and nobody could stop wars. How can you stop fighting? Even kids fight. But you have to fight for Dharma and for cause of Krishna. And for cause of Krishna, we can use even missiles. You can use atom bombs, provided it is for the cause of Dharma. We are not against, by default, devotees are by and large non-violent, peaceful, but when it is required, they will be ready to take anything and everything for the protection of Dharma. Prabhupada tells about two great wars were fought by Vaishnavas, by Arjuna and Hanumanji. And Prabhupada said, very soon you will come to know the potency and power of our movement. Only that the whole world will recognize the importance of this Krishna consciousness movement. Hopefully I could do justice. We may not be happy with what I said, but this is what the reality is. Long-term, eternal possibility. Then this golden era will be erupting. This next 10,000 years, 10,500 years, will be possible, and I and you will be instrumental cause for establishing that golden age, provided we follow the tenets which is given by Srila Prabhupada in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. Otherwise, these wars and atrocities will keep on happening because the heart is not cleansed. If the heart is cleansed, Prabhu, you can make terrorists chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then they will, that has to be done. How will you do? First, you do it properly and create an environment where at least certain percentage of people will be chanting. And when certain people are chanting, there's an influence. It's a vibration. And that vibration will kill the sinful tendency of people in large. And this congregational chanting, if the whole world takes to it up, even 1% of the world population, that can change the face of the world. And it's a duty of an Indian to do it. And we are born in this sacred land. It's our duty. Bharata bhumila hoila janma yara karo janma sartak karo paropakar. That paropakar has to be done by preaching Krishna consciousness. To preach, you have to be Krishna conscious. If we chant 16 notes and follow these regulations, you'll become powerful. With powerful things, we can make powerful decisions and make the whole world change with our power of Krishna consciousness. Hopefully, I could do justice from the perspective of teachings of Srila Prabhupada. Many of you may not be agreeing to what I'm saying if they're watching it for the first time, but otherwise, having said that, this is what the reality is. Thank you so much for patiently hearing me.